time here? Really? Well, so usually we do our kirtan. We now had a little taste of that, and then we will have a small talk, and then after the talk we'll have a little ceremony, nice ceremony for the well-wishing of everyone. Accompanied by more kirtan, and then we'll eat again.
Simple as that.
So what we'll do is that before the talk, we usually do like a small chant.
How about quiz?
Huh?
How about quiz?
You do it next time.
After lecture.
So if the words are unfamiliar, there's a refrain, and then which isn't too difficult to follow, and then we'll do more Hare Krishna as a part of this small song. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya 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 This is a family place. So this afternoon we'll have our small talk, which we usually do on Sunday. It's like a culture in this country. On the Sunday, you go to the church. It used to. You go to the church and you hear the talk. So we're also doing that in that kind of spirit. And we're speaking on the Bhagavad Gita. And the translation, there's many Bhagavad Gita translations. Thousands, even for thousands of years. But this particular one is called As It Is, which is the most important aspect. Bhagavad refers to God, Bhagavan. And Gita means song, so it's his song. So he's singing. When God speaks, it's very beautiful. It's like song. So, and it's recorded. This is a 5,000-year-old conversation. And it's come down into our hands by our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, who translated it from Sanskrit to English, and then made a point of calling it as it is. That means he was not so particular about presenting his own viewpoints, more in presenting the actual words of Krishna. Yes, so that is our sort of vantage point this morning, this afternoon. Usually before we speak, it's the custom to call on the grace for the listeners. So there are some mantras that one can say. We'll say them today for your benefit. Magyana timirandasya gyananjana shalakaya shakshu unmilitamena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya manobishram stavtamena bhutane svayam rupa kadhamaya padati savadam. Vandaham Sri Guru Sri Yutapadakam Sri Guru Vaishnavam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagna Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sachivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitam Scha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So one of the benefits of this book is that it comes in a line of disciplic succession. So now through these mantras I've called on the persons in this line, although they may have passed from our vision. They are out there and they're wishing us well. So I now ask them to look over this assembly, and so they might bless us for our own understanding. So I have, I'm reading this book. It's a very nice book. If you don't have it, we have it. If you want it, it's nice to have a copy. Although if you, online you can get it in many places. It's just make the point of having it as it is. It's very important. Although it is a very, very famous dialogue. If you ever saw, it was now recently in the cinema house, there was the movie Oppenheimer, about famous or infamous scientists, part of the team who created the nuclear bomb. So that's a little bit of a particular topic, but you might have noticed that it's also in the movie. Upon seeing the explosion and the awesome power of the instrument which they had created, he quoted the Bhagavad Gita because he was familiar with the text. Now I have become the destroyer of worlds. These are Krishna's words, not Oppenheimer. Although they certainly tried to destroy the world.
They try to become a god.
Well, they tried it. Yes, so this afternoon I wanted to share with you something from the book. And yes, actually I was a little bit, I didn't know which one to choose. There's so many nice quotes that we could talk about. And I was sort of between two different ones. And now I decided I'll do this one. I like this one. I'm now reading Bhagavad Gita myself. I read it a few times already, but since I'm also reading other books, I like to read. There's limited time, that's life. So, but I make sure that I read one verse a day in the evening before bedtime. So reading one verse a day, I now came to the 5th chapter. So that's about 200 verses, which I covered already just by reading that one verse a day. It's can be a nice meditation. And I find this topic now in the 5th chapter. It's called Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. I find that to be a very interesting topic, a very practical topic above all. And I think if there's something that we need in this world is come a little bit back to practicality. It's easy to get distracted these days. Everyone has that distracting device, right? So I thought this afternoon we could try to just come a little bit back to the practical and maybe have a small discussion. So the wonderful Sanskrit language, which these are now the words of Krishna. So he's speaking. Natra rishyet priyam prapya nodvijet prapya chapriyam stira bhutir asamudho dhamavit brahmani stani. So, this is the Sanskrit. And the translation is as follows. A person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant, nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, who is unbewildered, and who knows the signs of God, is already situated in transcendence. Right. So I'll read the short purport by Srila Prabhupada. The symptoms of the self-realized person is given herein. The first symptom is that he is not illusioned by the false identification of the body with his true self. He knows perfectly well that he is not this body, but is the fragmental portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is therefore not joyful upon achieving something, nor does he lament on losing anything which is related to his body. This steadiness of mind is called sthira buddhi, or self-intelligence. He is therefore never bewildered by mistaking the gross body for the soul, nor does he accept the body as permanent or disregard the existence of the soul. This knowledge elevates him to the station of knowing the complete science of the absolute truth, namely Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. He thus knows his constitutional position perfectly well, without falsely trying to become one with the Supreme in all respects. This is called Brahman realization or self-realization. Such steady consciousness is called Krishna consciousness. So again the verse, a person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant, nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, who is unbewildered, and who knows the signs of God, is already situated in transcendence. So, upon first hearing these words, one might misunderstand the position of the spiritual person. Here it says, not rejoicing upon achieving something pleasant. So that may seem somehow counterintuitive. When something good happens, we become happy. It's quite natural. But that is not what is discussed here. What is discussed here is taking the aspect of living a life as a person. We all are. We're here. We're humans in Oslo, north of Europe, planet Earth, right? We're sitting here. We're gathered. And it's quite natural to seek happiness. And to be happy is very good. To be unhappy is unfortunate. But Krishna is here trying to lift the level of understanding up to the next level. To the next level. Right? So what he's speaking about here is that there are different forms of happiness. If you look at happiness in itself, it takes on different shapes. And although the general tendency is to be happy, it is said in the Vedas, Aham Brahmasmi. We are pleasure seekers by nature. Inert are as souls. We seek pleasure. And Lord Krishna, He is the reservoir of all pleasure. And to connect with Him is actually the pleasurable experience. And to be disconnected from Him is misery. Now, interestingly, we are, in the current point in time, quite disconnected from Lord Krishna, if you look at society in general. it's not so Krishna-centered. In Norway, we have a thing called secular society. So now it used to be religiously driven. If I look back at my Norwegian grandparents, for example, they would maybe naturally be more churchgoers, you know, and their parents and grandparents before them. However, we see now there's not so much focus on religion. It actually became a little bit of a bad word in society. And religious figures are presented often in a disgraced circumstance. Then the news blows up. Oh, another scandal. Right? And the finger is pointed at religion. Oh, you're so religious and pure, and yet you're not. It's a scam. Right? This can be heard in the world in general. However, I would say Norway is a classical flagship of this also, with our secular society. So what Krishna is trying to do here is that he's trying to lift our consciousness up, not down. Up. Up means like if you're sitting, you can be sitting, right? But if you lift yourself up, it's a different way of sitting. Would you say? This goes into all details of life. All details of life. So Krishna, through the words of Bhagavad Gita, through these pages, he's trying to lift us up. Of course, here in this verse, the spiritual person is described. The spiritual person who is very balanced in life, very balanced. Upon receiving something very pleasurable, the spiritual person is grateful and sees not so much his own endeavor for the pleasure, but that it comes as a gift from the Lord. And thus he is grateful and balanced in his enjoyment of that pleasure. Likewise, when the unpleasant thing arrives, the spiritual person is equally balanced, right? The spiritual person, he or she, becomes thoughtful. Oh, now this happened. Something which might be labeled as negative, although it happened. The graceful Lord gave me this. Now I'm supposed to understand this and learn from this. Perhaps not to make the same mistake again, or perhaps for some deeper insight in life, in myself. Right? So then we can see that this is like another level of happiness and distress, where the polarization of the words, they disappear. They disappear. It's not so much that it's happiness. It's more that it's a gift. It's not so much that it's something unpleasant, something negative, something distressful. It's more that it's a learning experience, which is also a gift. So I was thinking in connection with this topic, I was remembering, Hare Krishna Prabhu. I was thinking about a very nice section of the Vedas, which we just had in our Bhakti Shastri course. So we're doing an online course with some of the different literatures of Bhakti Yoga, and we're now in the Sri Ishupanishad. Oh, we just finished it? No, it's going on. So there's a wonderful verse in the Sri Ishupanishad, which I was now supposed to present to you. Ishavasya idam sarvam yat kinchit jagatyam jagat kena jatyena bunjita magridha tasya svidhanam. So I thought of this in this connection because this brings forth a very, very interesting topic. The topic of what is called the Ishavasya principle. Isha, which is a famous word in many religions. Isha. In the Vedas, it denounced the supreme persons, the Ishvara, the supreme controller, the most powerful person. Some call him God. And that's certainly a category reserved for him. So, Isha, or Ishvara, denotes the supreme controller. And Avasya idam, Ishavasya idam. So, what does he control? Sarvam. Everything. Not only everything. Yat kincha jagatam jagat. Everything and everyone is under his control. And when we heard the word control, we might become a little bit anxious. Oh, I'm controlled. I'm not free. I'm not free. Don't worry. Kena tyakena bunjita. Here I'm giving you your quota. Whatever you need for your existence, whatever. I now cover it. Here you go. Take it. Take it. I'm giving. You're not even asking. I'm giving. And there's only one rule. Magridha tasya svidhanam. Don't infringe on other people's quota. Be satisfied with your quota, which I give to cover everything in your life. Just then keep to that. Don't overstep the quota. But we overstep the quota. If you watch the news, there's so many oversteppings of the quota. Right? And that leads to misery. Because we're not supposed to. Because we're given what's needed. Now, there's said to be four difficulties in life, which basically create all our problems on the material platform, which is this world of temporality, we might say. So we come into this world, right? And we take birth, and it goes on, right? Now we have some children here. There's even bigger children here. Don't worry. Yes. So therefore, I'm just going to cheat a little bit because I'm not a fan of people here. Right. So there's basically four defects in life, four problems which create all our difficulties. And when we look at them, they're quite obvious. All right? So one problem is that we make mistakes. Big bombshell there. Right? There's a famous English quote, to be human is to err. To be human is to make mistakes. It's an old fact. And although we try to avoid it, we can't help it. Sometimes even with the best of intentions, there's a mistake. We're not Isha. We're not Ishvara. We're small in the grand scheme of things. So one can make mistakes. And another difficulty is that we fall under illusion. Now, that means we see one thing for another. I mean, this maybe takes a little bit of honesty, which can be painful. But we fall under illusion. That means that, again, more that we fall under illusion, we're subjected to illusion. Illusion is put upon us. It's just a part of being in this world. Because this world, in essence, is an illusion. It's not that it's not real. It's definitely real. These are real energies. Right? If you go to science, I might see my hand. What it really is atoms vibrating energy. There's a lot of space here, although I don't see it. But we're put in illusion just by being in this world. And then the third one is, which is a little bit, not ugly, but it's a little bit on the dark side. We have a tendency to cheat others. And why would we cheat? To get something for ourselves. And this might, of course, take on huge global proportions. That is easy to see. But it also takes on quite small personal proportions, which might not be so easy to see. Right? And the fourth one is that, and this is, any honest scientist will tell you, the senses are imperfect. One very simple example can be that of a bat. You know a bat? Batman. Have you ever heard them screaming? You can hear it, although very, very faintly. The reason why you don't hear them so acutely is that their frequency of sound is on a much, much higher scale than our ears can perceive. They're screaming. Actually, they echolocate like a submarine. They're screaming all the time. That's how they move. They're blind. That's why they go out at night, because the sun is very disturbing to their eyes. So they go out at night. And they echolocate. They use their voice. And as the voice hits the sound vibration, it's a vibration. It's energy. So as the sound waves hits a solid object, it comes back, and then they can navigate. But it happens on a very, very high pitch, which is imperceptible to human ears. So the senses are naturally imperfect. natural. If I was to switch off the light, you would see less. But the things wouldn't disappear. Everything would be here, but you wouldn't see. So then, with these 4 problems in mind, the only natural, sane conclusion is that we cannot manage by ourselves to live this life. We can try. But as we already sort of talked about, that will be very difficult. You can try. And in the tradition of the Vedas, if we go to ancient India, we see that in ancient times, very, very qualified persons actually did try. The great yogis and rishis. They tried to restrain the senses, to stop the flow of the mind, to sit in one place, to renounce everything, riches, family, gold. And they might have had some success, although actually in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna does not recommend this process. It's very difficult. Very, very difficult. And in this day and age, which is described as the Kali Yuga, there are different cycles of time in the Vedic perspective. And time is circular, not linear. So there are these repeated cycles of time going on and on for eternity. And the current point in time is said to be the most difficult. Congratulations. However, Krishna being very, very kind, the Ishvara, the supreme controller, Jnanam apuhanam cha. He knows everything. Therefore he can give remembrance, because he is the reservoir of all remembrance. It says in the Bhagavad Gita that to Arjuna that many lives we were together. You don't remember them because you continue changing your body. But I never changed my body. I'm the eternal one. So therefore I remember each and every birth we had. Only you. Because of the strain and what would you say, the trauma of taking birth. I have 2 children, so I observed 2 births in this life. It's quite hectic, quite hectic. All glories to all women who give birth to children, I must say. No more tapasya for you in this life. You did that, you're yogis. So it's quite traumatic. The child is crying. It's a very peculiar set of circumstances, if you ever think about it. Right? In the womb, 9 months you're in the womb. You know how tight that is? For the last few months. And then coming out through the birth canal. It's hectic. It's quite hectic. Ask any doctor. So it's said that just the trauma of taking birth, you forget what was before, what you came from. Denosmin yatade kaumaram jomaram jara tatadehantara pratir dhiras tatranamuyati. It said that death, the ultimate end of the body, which is the big what would you say, skeleton in the closet for everyone. The elephant in the room no one talks about. And it's there. But wonderfully in Bhagavad Gita is described that what it really is just like changing your clothes. So if you have a worn jacket and you wore it for many, many years, and eventually the time comes to discard the jacket. It's old, it's worn. So take it off. Put on a new one. Fresh one. Nice one. Which will keep the spiritual knowledge to be able to do that. And it's even described, susukam kartum avyayam. Not even sukham. Sukham means happy, pleasure. It's sukham. Very pleasurable. It's very nice. Spiritual pleasure. And the reason why it's nice is because you get a natural, balanced perspective on life. Some pleasure comes to you. It's certainly nice. And I'm grateful for any money, anything. We had before the guests arrived this afternoon, we had a small meeting with the administrative, and then concluding the meeting, we had this exchange of appreciation. So some people came up to me and they would appreciate me in different ways. I tried to approach someone. And someone appreciates you. Someone sees something that you tried to do, maybe, or something that you didn't see yourself, some small thing. And it's very nice. And I become very grateful. Thank you. Thank you for seeing me so nicely. It's natural. And I must say, it brightens my day. I can now sit here with you to share something. And I'm in a happy place. Right? So it's very nice. And then you should have seen me with flu. And I had the fever. And I had a rash on my eye, like a huge rash on my eye. My eye was red. And I woke up in the morning, I was only seeing with one eye. And I had some errands. And just the prospect of making dinner was quite challenging. I was lying in bed thinking, usually I have this, we're chanting to the music, but I also do this, meditative chanting I do at home, on the beats. So I have a routine where I chant a certain fixed number of rounds for some time in the morning. And for the first time, as far as I can remember, I was lying down and chanting. I was thinking, if I'm to chant now, I don't even want to get up. I just want to lay down. So I was lying down and chanting. And, anyway. And things were difficult. Making dinner, I was looking around. And of course, that's the time when you're sort of in that kind of headspace. That's when you see the dirt on the floor and the dishwash, every day. My son, he's not, he's a teen. He doesn't care. During the day, he can use 5 glasses for water. Takes one, drinks it, puts it there. Half an hour later, new glass, drinks it, puts it. This is like a... I take one glass, either I use it throughout the day, or I drink, and I rinse it. Right? Dry it and put it back. How hard can it be? No. He's very busy with all his very, very, very important things which he's doing. Yeah. He's a good guy. Yeah. So you should have seen me a week ago. I was not so optimistic in life. Things were a little more Like they say, you drive with the handbrake on, or if you're on a boat, you have the anchor out, and then you set sail. Naturally, things go quite a bit slower. I try to sort of remind myself that, all right, yes, there's the concept of the soul, of being, of the body being a vehicle more than ourselves, really. It's more like an expression of what is within. And believe it or not, the existence of the soul is very, very easy to demonstrate. I shall now demonstrate. So imagine everyone in this room, apart from the young fellow poking his belly, they can go into their mind and they can imagine that some time ago we were a child. We were children. And now we're not. So imagine this scenario. Imagine a mother and a son. And then the son leaves home at an early age. And 20 years later, he returns. And mother says, "Oh, my son has come back." But the body hasn't come back. He's no longer the small child. He's a grown man. But he is still the same son, the same person. So we're souls, and we're in these vehicles of the body and mind, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. We can give expressions of love. We can contemplate beautiful things. We can be active in this world. And when the time comes for all of us, there's no real harm. There's no harm. No one goes away. No one disappears. It's just that small intermediate period. Change to death. Yes. So, I thought that could be some interesting points of reflection for this afternoon. We're here. It is a temple, after all, a house of spirit. So we're trying here to cultivate something. And, it's a little bit uncommon in Norway to have that spiritual mindset, although it is quite natural for everyone. So please come back and join us for our cultivation. We'll do a little more chanting, and the dinner, which we'll serve later. What we do is also an interesting concept in itself. Is that the chef, while he cooks, he does not taste anything. I remember my mother when I started this journey of this spiritual journey, and I was cooking, and I told my mother not to taste anything. And then she said, "But how will they know how it tastes?" And I said, "I don't know. I'm taking a chance here." But the point is that because it's not tasted, it remains pure. And then we offer it to the deities. Here is Krishna, the Ishvara, taking on this little bit funny form of the small wooden doll. Yes, we might see wood, but it's spirit. It's a spiritual transformation. Krishna has actually come down to be with us, and he's here. Sometimes he stays in the house of the devotees, but on the Sunday he comes to the big house, this small house, this office building, really. We're trying to improve. Yeah, so then we put the food before the Lord, say a few mantras, and then we offer him first. Now, it said if you do that, then whatever remnants are left, and he's very kind, usually most of it is left. that foodstuff is then called prasad, the mercy of the Lord, where He gives His benedictions. And we can freely take. It's vegetarian. Krishna does not like to slaughter things. He's a little bit peculiar. But there are many nice foodstuffs, grains and beans and vegetables and different milk products. And no worry, if depending on one's level of spiritual development, one tries one best. And if one cannot do the best, then the supreme best is to chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And if we can do that, little bits, sometimes, whenever, as much as possible, then everything will be all right in the end. So Hare Krishna. If there is some short comment or question, yes, please.
I want to know regarding your perspective on this Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. So in this context, how do you define the karma?
The karma?
Yeah, in this context, where it says the Lord is control of everything.
Well, of course, God created the system of karma. And the system of karma is supposed to be what would you call it? A system of law, like we have in the court. And it's supposed to be very balanced and neutral. So the system is created by God to be a system of neutrality, where whatever one does, one reaps the fruits. So, the act of karma itself, how you gain it and receive the fruits of your actions, that is on us. Right? We're just acting within the system. God does not give karma. We make the karma. Right? So, then, in this context of the Ishyavasya principle, where the quote is given, in my humble opinion, this is more Krishna trying to lift us, up above the perspective of karma and just show us the real dealings of what's going on, but deep inside, beyond karma, where He actually takes the active role of the well-wisher. So, ideally, by chanting Hare Krishna, by somehow or other connecting with our spiritual heritage, which is Krishna, the Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, then we can come to the point where we rise above karma, where we don't have to worry so much. We could see that from the verse this afternoon that is not so much focused on that. Although it certainly has a place. Right? Good things come, bad things come. We act. There are 3 different categories of things that might happen to us. They're called kleshas, right, in the Sanskrit language. So we have adibautika, adhyatmika, and adhidaivika. Right? So sometimes problems are created by people around us. Sometimes troubles are created just by natural disturbances. Sometimes it rains. Sometimes there's a volcano. And then we also have our own minds. And that in itself is like a volcano sometimes. So that's sort of that gives the perspective of the human level, and then the teaching of Bhagavad Gita is to try to somehow lift us up and above, bringing our human, maybe we can say real human nature with us, the mode of goodness, and continuing, not stopping being persons. That remains to be a person, to have senses, to have a mind and thoughts and ideas, and to have relationships, and to be loved and feel loved and give love. That remains eternal. But to take those activities and through connecting, Prabhupada would use this word dovetail. Have you ever heard this word, dovetail? Probably it's in Prabhupada's books. You dovetail everything for Krishna. So Prabhupada took that word from carpentry. So in England, the carpenters, they, in England, in the old times, they would be so expert that they would shape the wood. And when wood would go together, like on a corner, they would shape it in a way, like a dove. Dove is a bird. Right? And the tail of the dove is like a triangle. Tail of the dove. It's called dovetailing because they would make these dovetails, and then there would be also a hole on the opposite side, and they could connect the wood. Not using glue, not using nails, not using anything, just with this perfect symmetry, it would stick. It's called dovetailing. So with the same principles, you dovetail with Krishna. You shape your natural inclinations, and you, maybe to a certain degree, engineer your surroundings, your associations, what you read, what you take in, and then you dovetail that with Krishna. And then what happens is that all these things which were just common before, they take on a spiritual aspect, and life becomes an event.
So in summary, you can say that karma is not in control, but the result is in control of him.
Well, karma is very strong, right? If one puts oneself under the jurisdiction of karma, then you're controlled. But if you rise up, dovetailing your life with Krishna, then Krishna takes control, and then it's said to be Krishna karma. So I guess the same principle. We remain controlled. That we can be in control either by our lower natures, or if we rise up within ourselves to our higher nature, then we can be controlled by Krishna. And Krishna, there it comes. The whole idea with God, with the thunderbolts, smashing your head, that is not true. Not true. That is the bolt of karma on the material plane coming to get you. God does not throw it on. He throws roses in your face, not something. Yes.
Quick question.
Quick
Have
question.
you any tips how to get up early, and do you have any tips to
Yes,
concentrate when we
I have a great tip for getting up early. Go to bed early.
That's the best tip.
And don't eat too much before going to bed. You can sort of have your last meal in the late afternoon, early evening. Give the body a few hours to digest, and then go to bed at a proper time. And you will see that waking up is much easier. if you eat right before going to bed, for example, and then also go to bed late, then the body is not rested. The body will continue digestion while, resting. That's physiology. So that can be a good tip. Not eating too much before, and then also, and the thing is that to turn the wheel, you always have to do that one early evening. But the point is that if you do the early evening, and you get up early, then that next evening, you already had such a long day because you were up early. So then naturally, and then you sort of turn the cycle. There's that one evening, where you have to go to bed early, or maybe there's 2 nights, 3 nights maybe, I don't know, depending.
And it's tip to chant, concentrate and attempt.
I think chanting in the morning is definitely the best part of the day for any spiritual practice, especially the chanting. The mind is calmer. As the sun rises, this is Ayurveda. As the sun rises during the day, then the fire of the body, the Rajaguna, also rises. And the mind becomes more active. However, in the morning, it's more of a sattvic. It's more the presence of the sattva guna, the mode of goodness, and the mind will be calm. And then in the evening, like my Guru Maharaj said, then you have the dark rounds. Yes, the dark rounds in the evening. Okay. Anything else, Prabhu? So this went on for an hour. I'm so sorry, but it was nice engagement. Thank you. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Prabhu, would you like to do the announcements?
Should we do that after the kirtan?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I can
That's
do
how
the
it works.
announcements.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So what we'll do now is that we'll get up, stand a little bit, and we'll chat a little bit more. And then during the ceremonies, which is very nice, a little bit of auspiciousness into the lives, and then we'll serve the feast. Okay.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namo Hare Paramamsa Parivaricharya Sutarshatam Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Bodhi Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Se Go Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasudi Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Mayapur Dham Ki All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru Garanga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
So we'll do one more song we like singing, and then we'll have some few announcements, and then we'll serve the feast. Krishna. So, in the absence of the big chiefs, then the smaller ones have to take up the responsibility. Yes. So, so some few announcements. I guess main announcement is that we have these Sunday programs. They're free of charge. So welcome, and bring your friends or any relative. We're very fortunate in Norway that the government supports religious societies, so it is possible to become a member. Usually, when born in Norway, you get like the automatic church citizenship, but that can be changed also if you want. It's no big deal, and whatever persons we register here, the temple is given some funds for our maintenance. That keeps us going. Yes. These coming months now before summer, there's quite a lot happening. So keep posted. If you're not in the SA, there are WhatsApp group. Everything happens online. What can we say? Everything is given there, or if you come to the Sunday programs, there will be announcements for everything. May is big. We have the 17th of May celebration in Oslo, where we sort of contribute something. That's very nice. And there will be some other things. And then August will be very big. There's several festivals. Krishna's birthday among one. And we'll also bring the traditional festival from Jagannath Puri, the Ratha Yatra, the great chariot festival. We're bringing to Oslo. I think this is the 21st year in a row we're celebrating. So Jagannath is very merciful. He likes his Ratha Yatra festival, so we're making. Anyway, that comes in August. For now, just know that we're keeping it going here. Come when you can. Yes, next weekend is a festival. And we'll have some special ceremony, some for our good luck and fortune. So please come for that if you can. We'll be celebrating Gaura Purnima, the full moon of Gauranga. Although it is on Thursday, we'll celebrate it on Sunday. And tomorrow is Ekadashi. For those who follow the Ekadashi fast of fasting from grains and beans, that's tomorrow. And then Thursday is Gaura Purnima, the full moon. But we'll celebrate that on Sunday. And on Saturday, there is a small commemoration of one departed Vaishnava. So there'll be a little bit of a celebration also. Celebrating the departed. Imagine we're celebrating everything. Departed coming or going to celebrate. So that's Saturday. That will be 5 o'clock on Saturday. And then Sunday will be the usual time. However, since it is a festival, we'll come early. We'll start the kirtan and the celebration maybe a little bit early, just to get into that festive mood. Yes. And I guess all that is left of that is that we'll sit in rows. So please find your pillow, find your friends. Usually we try to be cultured. So we place gents on 2 rows here and the ladies on 2 rows. However, families may sit as they like. There's no harm. There's also a few other rooms if you want some kind of peace and quiet for eating. And we'll bring the feast to you, so just sit down, plates, cups, and the prasad will come to your lap. You have to eat yourself though. So, Hare Krishna. See you next Sunday. Oh, by the way, we'll close the altar in a little bit. So if you want some last darshan, maybe have something you want to submit before the Lord, or just look upon Him with devotion, which is also very nice. There's a few minutes. Hare Krishna.
इधर टच करो, हेड को टच करो। ठीक है, हैंड टच।